The film begins with Sunny and Larissa arguing together. And Sunny is angry because Larissa got close to her husband. And that's because Sunny loves Larissa and there's a relationship between them. Larissa tells him that he's her husband and she has to act like that with him or he'll suspect her. We go back in time and see Sunny traveling to a big city to look for work. He goes to an auto repair shop where he applied for a mechanic position. But Sunny arrives late for the interview and is surprised to find that the job went to someone else. He's upset because he doesn't even have a place to stay, and of course has no money to get a hotel room to spend the day in. So Sunny looks for any other work in the city, but unfortunately, he doesn't find any job. In the end, he decides to spend the night on a bench in the street, still hopeful that the next day he'll find a solution to his problems and find a suitable place to live. At this time, there's an elderly man named George walking toward his car, and suddenly he feels someone walking behind him. There's a thief following him who attacks him as soon as he reaches his car to steal it. George tries to defend himself, but the thief is stronger than him and manages to overpower him. All of this is happening while Sunny is watching from his seat on the bench from afar. When he senses that the fight is getting serious, he intervenes to save the old man. He quickly goes to help George and hits the thief who's attacking him. The thief gets scared and runs away. George thanks Sunny for saving his life. At this time, a police officer arrives at the scene and George explains what happened. While he's talking, his wife Larissa arrives and checks on him. It becomes apparent that Larissa is a beautiful woman, more than 30 years younger than George. George tells her that if it weren't for Sunny, he would be dead. Larissa greets Sunny and thanks him. George decides to invite Sunny to dinner at his house. During dinner, George asks Sunny about his life. Sunny tells him that he has no family and was raised in an orphanage. He tells him that he's a mechanic and came to work at a shop, but the job fell through. George tells him that he also owns an auto repair shop. Sunny is surprised that he owns a shop, and George tells him that he's looking for a mechanic to help him. He offers Sunny to work with him at the shop and tells him that he'll give him a good salary and also prepare a room for him to live in. Of course, Sunny is happy because all his problems are suddenly solved, and he agrees to everything George says without any hesitation. Later, we see Sunny sleeping on the bed in his room. At this time, it becomes apparent that Larissa wasn't happy about Sunny's presence and blames her husband George for hiring a homeless person he knows nothing about and also letting him live with them in the same house. George tells her that Sunny saved his life and that he's going to help him to return the favor. Sunny feels deeply sad when he hears their conversation and keeps thinking whether he was wrong to accept this offer or not, but he pushes these thoughts out of his mind and goes to sleep. The next day, Sunny starts his work at the shop to prove to George that he's skilled. George is impressed with his style and way of working. He shows him the work that he couldn't finish alone during the past period. He also shows him a very special car and tells him that he's preparing it as a gift for his wife Larissa. He tells him that he's been working on it for a while, but it's not finished yet. Sunny promises him that he'll start fixing the car and will finish it soon. Time passes, and Sunny works at the shop with effort and activity. Because of his hard work, the shop's condition improves, and George is very happy with what's happening. As for Sunny, he notices that Larissa is watching him all the time without showing any reaction toward him, and he doesn't understand whether she's happy about his presence or not. Suddenly, George sees Larissa looking at Sunny and thinks she's still worried about him, so he reassures her and tells her that he's a good young man and will be useful to them in the work. After that, Sunny starts smiling at her whenever she looks at him, but Larissa completely ignores him and leaves. At night, Sunny notices that Larissa is looking at him from her bedroom window, and he starts to suspect that she's attracted to him. One day, Sunny is looking at Larissa, and Larissa gets angry and goes to him and asks him why he looks at her so much. She tells him that if she catches him looking at her again, she'll fire him from work. Sunny tells her that he certainly doesn't want to leave work, but as long as he's here, he won't get tired of looking at her because she's very beautiful. He asks her why someone as beautiful as her would marry an old man like George. Larissa blames him for talking about George in a bad way, especially since George loves him and treats him well. Sunny tells her that he also loves George, but he wasn't wrong when he told her that she's beautiful because she really is beautiful. He also tells her that he's attracted to her, and it looks like he loves her. He surprises her before she leaves and tells her that she's also attracted to him, but is trying to hide her feelings. Larissa stays silent and doesn't respond to him and leaves. At night during dinner, Larissa and Sunny exchange glances without George noticing, and it becomes apparent that Larissa is indeed attracted to Sunny. After dinner, George asks Sunny to go get glasses from the kitchen so they can drink together. As soon as Sunny enters the kitchen, he gets close to Larissa. She weakens in front of him and can't resist him. George interrupts them and calls for Sunny to hurry him up. At the end of the night, Sunny keeps thinking about Larissa, and she's also thinking about him. Suddenly, an idea comes to Sunny's mind and he starts to execute it. He goes to search online for spare parts missing from the shop. The next day, he informs George that he found a store selling these spare parts. George takes the car and goes to buy these spare parts. It becomes apparent that this is a plan by Sunny to get George away from the house. As soon as he leaves, Larissa comes and asks Sunny where George went. He tells her that he went to get spare parts and it will be 4 hours before he returns. Suddenly, the two get close to each other and they have a romantic moment. After a while, George returns with the spare parts and gives them to Sunny. The two start working on George's car until they manage to fix it. George is happy because the car is working again. He takes the car and drives it to test it. After a while, George returns with the car, and Larissa is surprised when she finds George giving her the car keys and telling her it's a gift from him. Larissa is very happy and can't believe it. She gets in the car with George and they drive it for a while. At night, George invites Sunny for a drink to celebrate fixing the car. George keeps drinking in large quantities until he passes out and falls asleep on the couch. Sunny sees this as a suitable opportunity to get close to Larissa again. He goes up to her bedroom and they spend the night together. Larissa tells Sunny about the reason for her marriage to George. She tells him that she was alone and poor and was working any job to support herself until she met George. He loved her and decided to marry her. She tells him that she's not happy in her life with George. Sunny is surprised when Larissa tells him that from the moment he came, she was attracted to him. She tells him that she felt she should be with him, not with George. At this moment, Sunny can't believe himself from the intensity of happiness. The next day, George takes Sunny and shows him a piece of land he owns. He tells him that a highway will be built in the coming days, and this will double the price of the land. He tells him that he wants to do a big project on it. George's idea is to build a car racing track on this land, and for that, he's going to take a loan from the bank secured by the land and start his project. Sunny is surprised when George tells him that he'll be the manager of this project. Sunny goes to meet Larissa and tells her about everything that happened. Larissa is very happy about this news. But Larissa has a problem because she can no longer live with George and feels that her life with him is a waste of time. But she also wants to take his fortune and at the same time live her life with Sunny. She tells Sunny that this is their opportunity to get rid of George, and after that, all this fortune will be theirs, and they'll live together and enjoy all this money. But Sunny isn't convinced by her words and refuses to do anything to George. When night comes, Larissa deliberately gets close to George and makes Sunny see her. And this is to make him jealous of her with George and decide to get rid of him. At this moment, we return to the opening scene. Larissa tells Sunny that if he really loves her, then he must get rid of George. She tells him that he needs to make a plan and everything that happens must look like an accident so no one will suspect them. The next day, Sunny sets a trap in the shop to kill George. He takes Larissa with him to see what will happen. He connects a crane to the lift in the shop so that when the lift comes down, the crane will fall on George and kill him. Larissa learns from Sunny that she's the one who will lower the lift because he'll be with George under the crane, and he'll give her the signal to lower the lift without George noticing. He explains to her that if they kill George this way, it will look like an accident and no one will suspect them. Everything is ready, and the two decide to execute the plan quickly. The next day, Sunny informs George that there's a problem with the crane that he can't solve. George goes and they both sit under the crane and work on it. At this moment, Larissa enters the shop without George noticing and goes to the lift and waits for the signal from Sunny. As soon as Larissa lowers the lift, the crane immediately falls on George and kills him instantly. But the problem is that Sunny's hand gets trapped under the crane. He asks Larissa to leave quickly before anyone sees her and asks her to get rid of her shoes because they have blood on them. Larissa does what he says, goes to change her shoes, and washes her feet of the blood. There's an old pair of shoes in front of her, so Larissa puts on those shoes, takes her car, and leaves the place quickly. After that, she throws her shoes on the road to get rid of them and quickly goes to the supermarket to prove that she wasn't present at the time of the accident. At this time, Sunny calls the police and reports what happened. As for Larissa, she gets a call from the police informing her that her husband died. She returns home quickly, and there Detective Ford meets her, who is responsible for investigating the accident. Larissa acts in front of Ford as if she's devastated and keeps crying because of her husband's death. After what happened, the police begin investigating the crime led by Detective Ford. Ford talks to his colleague and tells her that he suspects Sunny and Larissa. He says that when he met Larissa, she was wearing old shoes, and those shoes don't match the dress she's wearing. Also, Larissa is beautiful and still young, and she's the one who will benefit most from George's death because she'll inherit all his money. As for Sunny, he's a young man present in this place with a beautiful girl who's married to an old man, and it's natural that there could be a relationship between them. Ford guesses that Sunny and Larissa are the ones who planned George's death accident to get rid of him and enjoy his money. Ford decides to start investigating quickly. The first thing he does is search for Larissa's shoes, but Sunny had already found the shoes and burned them so as not to leave any evidence behind. After George's funeral, Sunny and Larissa start living together and executing George's project. Amidst all this, Detective Ford monitors all their movements and is certain that they're behind George's death, but he's waiting to find strong evidence against them. One day, Larissa tells Sunny that she's pregnant. Sunny is very happy, and they start planning for their son's future. But the next day, Ford goes to Sunny at the shop and asks him about his relationship with Larissa, George's wife. He tells him that forensics proved that the crane fell on George twice, and this means that someone lowered the lift arm so the crane would fall on George. Here, Sunny remembers the details of the night of the accident. Indeed, Larissa lowered the lift, but the crane fell on George's body, not on his head. So, Sunny asked her to pull the lift chain up. Then he grabbed George and adjusted his body so the crane would fall exactly on his head. At this moment, George was still alive and kept begging Sunny not to kill him. But Sunny ignored his words and yelled at Larissa to lower the lift again. The crane falls on his head and kills him. At this moment, Sunny wakes up from his memories and tells Ford that he doesn't have any information that could help him. He tells him that he said everything in his statements during the investigation. Sunny knows that Ford doesn't have evidence against him or against Larissa. But after what happened, Larissa started to distance herself from Sunny to keep suspicion away from her because she knows the house is being watched. When Sunny blames her for distancing herself from him, she tells him that she's afraid for her son and doesn't want to go to prison. She tells him that Ford will keep searching after them and won't leave them alone. Here, Sunny decides to sacrifice himself and take the crime alone to protect Larissa and his son. He goes to the police station and confesses that he planned to kill George, and that he did this because he was greedy for his wife and the money she would inherit. At this time, Larissa finds a message from Sunny telling her that he went and turned himself in to the police. He tells her that he loves her and asks her to take care of herself and their son. The strange thing is that Larissa doesn't seem sad about Sunny. Years pass, and we see Sunny in prison waiting for his trial date. As for Larissa, she goes back to living her life normally and continues George's project until the project works and succeeds. All this time, she sends letters to Sunny with pictures of his son growing up year after year. Whenever Sunny sees these pictures, he's very happy and feels that he acted correctly when he turned himself in to protect Larissa and his son. But what Sunny doesn't know is that this child isn't his son, because Larissa wasn't pregnant with him at all. The pictures she was sending him were pictures of her secretary's son. All of this was a plan by Larissa to make Sunny take the crime alone. The truth is that Larissa never loved Sunny, but she used him to get rid of George. She had planned all of this with her lover, the thief who attacked George at the beginning of the film. Larissa had planned with her lover for him to kill George and get rid of him. When Sunny intervened in the matter, the plan failed. So Larissa changed her plan and made a new plan that was all based on Sunny. We notice that Larissa treats her lover coldly, and whenever he gets close to her, she pushes him away. It's clear that she intended to get rid of him from the very beginning, but Sunny's appearance ruined all her arrangements. We discover here that Larissa never loved George, Sunny, or even the thief she's known for a long time. In the end, we see Sunny going to be executed. As for Larissa, she's living her life like a queen after achieving all her dreams. The film ends. See you in a new recap. Thanks for watching.